Alright, third video. Who owns your house? This was from a local news station in Nevada, one of the many devastated states. Florida, Nevada, California, Michigan. There's a few other states, but those are the big states that have really took a hit on housing. Who owns your house? And it goes on to talk about people who bought a foreclosed house from a bank, to get a real good deal, of course, that the bank that sold them that house isn't actually technically the owner of that house and note, therefore couldn't have actually sold it to you in the first place because of the forged document problem. And the same thing I told you happened to me, why I stopped paying mine, because my lawyer checked into it too. Chain of title. The chain of title was not properly filled out and signed by every party that owned that particular title to the house. In other words, the banks, the financial industry, those companies that I'm now the owner, signed the chain of title. Oh, we bundled this and packaged it off as an MBS or whatever, mortgage-backed nonsense, and we sold it off to Wells Fargo. They didn't sign the damn note properly or at all. And they just packaged it and resold it off to somebody else. Now, Countrywide has it. They did the same thing. They went under, collapsed. Oh, we're going to scoop them up, Bank of America. Now Bank of America owns them. Nobody signed the chain of title, or the chain of title wasn't properly done. You have to fill out note signature on the note, person of management level, whatever it is, CFO, finance department, whatever, has to sign it. And they didn't. And the people no longer work there, or the company that had it at the time is bankrupt. So what do? Let's get this company over here known as the robo-signer. You heard about that. Remember the robo-signing? What, who was the company you guys need? Mrs. Smith from ABC Title Company. Oh, they've been bankrupt. I know, but you have her signature on file, right? Yeah. Just stamp it on there for us and then copy it and send it back to us. All right, thanks. Here's your little fee. And what company do you need? XYZ Title Company. They're also out of business. We have their signature here, little paperwork fee. Here you go. And then they present that to the bank, to the court. We have all the documents, Your Honor. No one's there to dispute it because the bozo homeowner, oh, I'm down on my luck. I should have been doing the right thing and I lost my job and I can't do the right thing anymore. So I'll just walk from the house. And they walk from the house like an idiot, like a freaking idiot. They could have been there for years for free. Wow. And your credit's still destroyed the same. You might as well soak it up if you can, for God's sakes. And the bank now has legitimate, technically legitimate, ownership of that house / title / note. And they're going to foreclosure sale over here. Hey, come on in, sir. We got the paperwork signed here. And you now make your payments to them. Except, legally speaking, they aren't, even though the court went through the whole court system, it's fraud because they used robo-signing to get the proper document signed, which it was just a copy of someone's signature, not the real person, because that company's bankrupt and gone. But the judge doesn't look into it that far. He just looks at a stack of paperwork. Do they have this? Okay, got that signed, got that signed, got that. Okay, good enough. Summary judgment for you. Take care. Here's your new house. But at any time, the last person that properly filled out, signed the note, chain of title, could stand up. We are legal owner of that house. You, sir, have been making payments for 3 years, every month, to this bank, and we own the house. So you should have been making the payments to us, and now that we got this squared away, you've been there for 3 years? Yes, sir. You need to give us 3 years worth of money. And he's going to say, well, you better talk to Bank of America or whoever, right? I've been paying them for 3 years. So their money would have to go to them. And they would go under if this became an epidemic, which it's starting to look like we might be heading that way. So I'm going to attach a video to this. And when you think of old Jason at 4, he ain't doing the right thing, man. He ain't doing the right thing. He should be paying his mortgage. I did the research, title research, chain of title, the whole 9 yards. Had him look over the documents we signed, everything. There's problems all over the place. I, as you're going to hear from the expert who bought a foreclosed house and also recognized he doesn't know who the owner is, so he can't pay his mortgage anymore either, you're going to hear an expert tell you the same thing JSNIP4 has been telling you. And I caught some grief on some of those videos I did. That's not right, man. You should pay your bills. You know, you're brought up that way. You know, that's not right. Yeah, it's not right as long as it's a legitimate bill to pay. If it's illegitimate and it was fraud, then it's done from day one. And by the way, since I'm on this subject, and I've mentioned many times and had several people email me recently, hey, what's that lawyer friend you said you met when you did all this chain of title research that did your stuff, that looked or whatever, that I was communicating with? I live in Florida and I need some help too. No problem. I contacted him. Yeah, send him our way. We'll take care of him. Good. And I did that. And I said, by the way, how's your situation coming with Wells Fargo? He defended himself in court before he met the law firm that he now works for. And that guy was so impressed with him, he offered him the job to work for him. And was fighting Wells Fargo for the chain of title issues that I'm telling you about. This, by coincidence, the same ones I'm dealing with. The chain of title problems, not the same company. I'm with Bank of America. And let me just, give me a second here, because I did not delete this. And I want to read you. Oh, here we go. Chain of title research. Thanks, Joe. I'm still in the house from 2008 when he's been fighting Wells Fargo. Thanks, Joe. I'm still in the house. I beat Wells Fargo last year. I'm making that up. I'm lying to you. JSNIP4 is lying to you, right? I just made that up. My eyes, hold on. I think I just got sprayed in the face by a lady at Black Friday because she wanted an Xbox and sprayed 20 people, and I was one of the 20 people. Hold on. Oh, man. Okay, let me just block that light for a second. Thanks, Joe. I'm still in the house. Beat Wells Fargo last year. They surrendered and filed a voluntary dismissal and release of list pendants rather than show up for a deposition. See attached. Oh, he actually attached something? No. Let me just take a peek at this. In the circuit court in and for Hernando County, Florida, case number such and such. I'm not going to read you his personal information. Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., successor by merger to Wells Fargo Bank, Minnesota, National Association, solely in its capacity as trustee under the pooling and servicing agreement dated September 1st, 1999, Home Equity Loan Asset-Backed Certificates, Series 1993-3, Plaintiff versus blank blank, a.k.a. blank blank, not going to tell you his name, defendant, corrected notice of voluntary dismissal without prejudice and release of list pendants. Plaintiff, Wells Fargo, N.A., successor by merger to Wells Fargo Bank, Minnesota, National Association, solely in its capacity as trustee under the pooling and servicing agreement dated September 1st, 1999, blah, blah, blah. Pursuant to rules such and such, Florida Rules of Civil Procedure, releases the list pendants on the property legally described as the north half of the north half of the west half of the east half of the northeast quarter of the southwest quarter of Section 20, Township blah, 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 Range blah, 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 Hernando County, Florida, and voluntarily dismisses without prejudice, which means at a later date they could, if they wanted to, restart the whole entire process, which would buy him another several years, and bring the case back to court. But voluntarily dismisses without prejudice. If it said with prejudice, that means we are giving up and we will never file a lawsuit or try to get this house done. That's no law firm in their right mind would ever choose with prejudice if they have a choice to choose without prejudice, just in case you're wondering, which is why they didn't dare. But a win is a win. and voluntarily dismisses without prejudice this action against defendants blank blank and blank blank and United States of America Department of the Treasury Internal Revenue Service, dated on March 30, 2011. Signed, such and such, Florida bar number, such and such, etc. There's another signature, certificate of service. I hereby certify that a true copy of the foregoing has been furnished by Federal Express to blank blank blank, which is the law firm, and blank blank blank, which is the person that I'm telling you about that works for that law firm, which is his house in this case, and blank blank blank, Assistant United States Attorney, Tampa, Florida, blah blah blah. Signed. Here we go. End of discussion. Stamp of approval. If I'm wrong, and this guy's wrong, and that guy's wrong, and that guy's wrong for not paying our mortgage and doing the right thing, how the hell did Wells Fargo just dismiss their own case? You freaking bozo. For anybody out there, doing the right thing. Because, and only because, you feel it's the right thing, even though you think to yourself, wait a minute, I remember getting letters in the mail. We, such and such bank, used to be your mortgagee payment servicer. We now want you to pay this new company because we packaged and sold off your loan. Thank you. And then a few months later, you get another letter in the mail. We, new company, have purchased the mortgage from your old company. Please start making payments to us. And then you got to call your bank. Can you change the direct deposit or whatever, you know, the auto feed? I got to change a new bank, right? It drives you crazy because you got to get all these new addresses to mail off your mortgage. How many times am I going to get these stupid letters? If you got 2 or more of those letters, the chances of you being a victim, the same what I just described to you from this guy and myself, the situation I described a minute ago, if you receive 2 or more of those types of notices, maybe even 1, it's possible, but if you, normally I'd say 2 or more, there is probably a 9 out of 10 chance that you had the same thing happen to you and you don't even know it. If you're wondering, you need to contact a local title attorney and ask them, can you look over my mortgage paperwork to see if there's any kind of flaws, and could you do the chain of title research on my property to make sure there's no holes or any problems with the chain of title. Sometimes if the paperwork has problems, you can basically, I forget the proper term, so bear with me, but you can basically relinquish the house and say, this thing is null and void due to the paperwork problems, and demand back every house payment you made to the mortgage company since you signed that paperwork. And they have to give it to you. There might be a legal fight, but you will get it. The other thing is if the paperwork's okay, but there's a hole in the chain of title, as I explained earlier, you still have a very big problem. As I told you, and what was explained to me by my friend, was that in the video I'm going to attach to this, that I'm telling you about from the news agency in Nevada, he explains it too. But I'm going to give you a little bit different example. I just won the lottery today, and I'm going to pay off my house. If I actually gave the money, in my case, to Bank of America, they would send me something in the mail. You are free and clear. They would file it with the court. Great. No more payments. Everybody's happy. But because there is a problem with the chain of title in my house, there are parties prior to Bank of America, prior to Countrywide, which is no longer in existence, and some back, that could stand up at any time and say, we are legally the owner, follow the paper trail, follow the chain of title. You will see we were the last ones to sign it. We don't know how Bank of America and Countrywide and this guy, all before Bank of America got it, how they even got those signatures, because we didn't sell it to them, or whatever the case, they didn't have the signatures. So that would also point out that someone in here after them must have used the old robo signing thing and got the fake signatures, which is fraud and a felony, And Bank of America or Wells Fargo or anybody else wouldn't dare want to open that can of worms. So when old JSNIP4, hey, Miss Lady, you keep calling me every month. You keep sending me letters every month about I'm greatly behind on my payment. Are you taking notes right now? Yes, sir. That's why I call. I have to at the very least, have to update the notes. No problem. You're taking notes right now? This is what I said. Yes, sir. Okay. To take this down. I hired a lawyer. We looked at the paperwork of my house. We also did a chain of title research. There is major problems with the chain of title, and there is major problems with the paperwork with it. We're looking at at least a couple of things that appear to be fraudulent. And he advised me, because of those things in question, that he didn't know technically if you guys were really the owner. And if I won the lottery today and could pay you off, somebody else prior to you could actually stand up and say, no, we're the owner. So because we don't know who technically is the owner, he told me to immediately, back many, many months ago when I stopped paying my mortgage, told me to stop paying the mortgage. I'm just now letting you know the full reason why I have quit paying the mortgage. Did you get all that? Yes, sir. Thank you. That's all I have to say. Have a nice day. I have not, I repeat, I have not received another phone call from Bank of America or anybody for that matter trying to ask me or tell me you're greatly behind on your payments. Do you know when we can expect a payment? Yeah, I think I do. When you tell me who owns the house. And that's another question I asked her. By the way, in some of these letters you guys sent us, it says, we are Bank of America, blah, 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 homeowner, such and such, LLC, servicing company for your note to note holder, note holder. Why doesn't it say note holder and then the company's name? Well, because it's probably a group of investors or something like that. Right, well, if I'm making payments to somebody, I need to make sure they're actually alive and in existence and they didn't like go bankrupt, and now Bank of America is collecting all my mortgage when they should only be collecting a fee for processing the mortgage payment to that entity. Can you tell me who's the note holder of my house? We can't tell you that. You would have to sue us. Okay, well, write this down too. You're going to have to sue me if you want me to make some more payments. And then we can also find out who really owns the house at the same time, which is the precise reason why my lawyer told me not to make any more payments. That's all I have to say. Okay, have a nice day, sir. It was something like that. And then I hung up. That was so long ago. So many months ago. Like, probably 8-9 months ago, if I had to guess. Not a single call. They also quit sending paper. I every now and then, I mean every great once in a while, get the standard auto mail out, you know, you're behind on your payments, please contact. I'm not behind on my payments because I don't know who I'm supposed to be making payments to. And when I asked you who the owner is, you refused to tell me, and I know why. Because if we open that can of worms, we're going to find out that you don't know who the hell owns the house either. And you can't provide the proper paperwork to me to show me who I should be paying because of the chain of title problems, etc. I caught you red-handed, and I guarantee when they pull up old JSNIP every 30 days, let's look at the outstanding accounts, behind payments. Oh, there's old JSNIP4. They don't know me as JSNIP4, but there's old JSNIP4. C management, don't touch. Okay, skip that one. Management, every few months, going over their little list of goodies, right? Their little list of behind, you know, non-paying scumbags. Who do we got here? Not paying their bills. Oh, JSNIP4. Let's look at this guy. Why isn't this low-life deadbeat paying his damn or oh, what's this? Chain of title, lawyer, don't know who owns the house, fraud. Oh, yeah, okay. Let me update the notes myself. Management, high-level management, signature. Here's my password. Don't ever ask this person for another payment. Don't bother them. Don't piss them off. As a matter of fact, send them some flowers and a present for Christmas. And leave it at that. Right. Do you see what I'm saying? I am now going to play the video for you, and that's all I have to say. Have a nice day.
Well, frustration and outrage, a desert underwater, as the I-Team continues its week-long look into the devastating impact the housing crisis has had here in the Valley. George Knapp uncovers why many of you may be mistaken if you think that you own your own home. Dave sat down with him for a preview of tonight's story.
This series has been very interesting. Tonight, you turn your focus onto the banks.
It's sort of been a cavalcade of misery, Dave, if you've been watching it all week. The terrible toll that it's exacted on our community, more so than anywhere else, but everyone's been affected. Your home values have gone down 58%. Mine have as well. 63% of the people who live here underwater, and it wasn't an accident. This is systemic. This is systematic. The politicians took money from the banks. They deregulated the banks. They got out of the way. The banks said they were going to streamline this whole process. They privatized it, took it out of the hands of county recorders, and started cranking out this mountain of fake documents. Robo-signers, mystery signers, documents that were filed out of order. The result is that millions of people out there, including many tens of thousands of people in our community, people listening to this right now, think they own their homes. They don't. If you bought a house out of foreclosure, even if you bought it from a flipper who got it out of foreclosure, there's a pretty good chance that there is a problem in the chain of the title and that you may not own the home that you've been paying on.
So what do we learn about the bank tonight?
Well, the banks have put this into the hands of these service providers, these third-party people who will handle all the paperwork. And they have done this blizzard of fake paperwork, signing documents that they have no right to sign, using fake names, fake titles. And the result is that every day in this community, people wake up and they realize, I don't own my home. I've been paying on this thing for years. I've been paying it to a mortgage company that does not itself own my home. And it is a shocking thing, and it happened to me. As I'm in the middle of this interview with a lawyer telling me this, she says 9 out of 10 foreclosure homes have a problem. I said, oh, come on. I don't believe that. I bought a home out of foreclosure.
Right.
She says, give me your address. And I gave her the address, and she runs it. It takes her 2 minutes. She goes, bam, there's your problem right there. And it turns out the house I bought 3 years ago and have been paying on, I do not own. And I don't know how we're going to fix it.
Who's going to be able to sleep after they see your story tonight?
Well, I hope people will watch it, and I hope people really get angry about it, because that's what's going to take, is for everybody to get involved in this and get really ticked off.
Okay. The banks tonight. We'll see you at 11.